There's a quiet, ancient power in every woman, a power that has been buried for generations, a force that has been told to sit down, to remain silent, to step back. For centuries, the world has told her that strength is to be seen but not heard, that her power lies in her silence, in her obedience, in her willingness to shrink for the comfort of others. But this is a lie. A woman's strength isn't in her silence, it's in her voice. It's in her ability to speak her truth, to stand in the face of oppression and say, I will not be silenced. I will not shrink. I will not conform. This is where her real power lies, in her courage to speak, in her bravery to share her truth with the world, regardless of the consequences. From the moment a woman is born, the world begins to teach her that she must be careful with her voice. Speak too loudly, and you're seen as aggressive. Speak too boldly, and you're labeled as arrogant. Speak too truthfully, and you're called difficult, uncooperative, emotional. But the truth is, a woman who is afraid to speak is a woman whose soul has been shackled. Her voice is not only her strength, it is her freedom. Every time a woman stays silent when her heart screams to speak, she forfeits a piece of her own power. Every time she swallows her truth, she lets a piece of herself die. When you suppress your voice, you suppress your very essence. But when you stand tall, when you finally allow your voice to rise, when you speak with the full weight of your conviction, that's when the world feels the force of your presence. That is when your power is unleashed. And here's the beautiful, paradoxical thing. Your voice does not need to be loud to be powerful. It doesn't need to be aggressive. It doesn't need to demand attention. It simply needs to be authentic. Your voice has a power to create change, to shift the atmosphere, to break chains, because it is your truth. Look at the women who have shaped history, those whose voices rang out like thunder, breaking the silence imposed upon them. The suffragists who demanded the right to vote, the warriors who fought for their place in society, the artists who painted the world with their words. They did not shrink to make others comfortable. They stood in their truth, and the world had no choice but to listen. This is the legacy that lives within every woman. Your voice is a weapon, a tool, a beacon of light, and a call to action. It's a force that can start revolutions, heal wounds, and build bridges between hearts. Yet, for so many women, this voice has been muffled, dimmed, or erased entirely. The world, society, and sometimes even the people closest to us have told us that it's easier to be silent, that it's safer to be small, that it's more acceptable to stay quiet and comply. But this path leads to one place, the slow and steady erosion of self. When you silence yourself, you silence your soul. And no matter how much you try to bury your voice, it will always try to rise, because the truth within you is louder than any fear that tries to hold it down. And here is the truth. The moment you stop shrinking is the moment you start transforming. Your voice is the key to your liberation. It is the key to unlocking your full potential. Every time you choose to speak, you reclaim your autonomy. Every time you allow your voice to be heard, you remind the world that you matter, that your truth, your perspective, your existence is not only valid but essential. This is why silence can never be your strength. Silence might feel safe, it might feel easier, but it's not the place where your true power lies. It's the place where your fire is slowly snuffed out, where your light grows dim. Silence doesn't allow you to grow. Silence doesn't allow you to fully express your humanity. It doesn't allow you to take up space, to be seen, to be known. It's time to break free from the chains of silence. It's time for you to step into the fullness of who you are and let your voice reverberate throughout the world. It's time to speak your truth, not in whispers, but in powerful declarations. To speak not because it is expected, but because it is your right. To speak not out of obligation, but because your soul has been waiting to be heard. Imagine a world where women everywhere refuse to remain silent. Imagine the kind of world we could create if every woman stood in her voice, unashamed, unapologetic, powerful. A world where every woman spoke her truth, shared her story, and demanded her seat at the table. And here's the thing, the world is already starting to change. More and more, women are speaking up, women are telling their stories. Women are using their voices to break barriers, to dismantle systems, and to create new pathways for themselves and others. The tide is shifting, and you too have a part to play in this great revolution of voice. When you speak, when you allow your voice to be heard, you not only set yourself free, you give others permission to do the same. Your voice becomes a call to action for those who have been too afraid to speak. You become a beacon of hope, a model of courage, a living example that silence is no longer necessary, and it is never the path to power. To be a woman with a voice is to walk through life unafraid. It's the courage to say, this is who I am, this is my truth, this is what I believe, and I will not be silent. It's not about dominating or overpowering others. It's about showing up in your full authenticity without apology. There will be fear, there will be doubt, there will be moments when your voice shakes, when you wonder if anyone will listen, when the world tries to silence you again. But remember, your voice is not about pleasing the world. It's about expressing who you are, and that is powerful beyond measure. The more you use your voice, the stronger it becomes. The more you speak your truth, the more your soul aligns with your highest purpose. And eventually, you will realize that your voice is not just an instrument of expression, it is an instrument of transformation. Your voice has the power to change not only your life, but the lives of those around you. The strength of a woman lies not in her silence, it lies in her voice. The woman who speaks her truth is unstoppable. She is the one who moves mountains, who shakes the foundations of the world, who creates new paths where none existed before. She is the one who is heard, respected, and valued, not because she seeks approval, but because she demands to be seen. So, speak. Speak the truth you've held inside for too long. Speak the words that have been waiting to be set free. Speak with courage. Speak with power. Speak with conviction. Your voice is your strength. Your voice is your power. Your voice is your freedom. And when you choose to use it, you will unlock a force that cannot be ignored. The world will no longer look at you as someone who needs to be quieted. It will look at you as someone who has found her place, someone whose presence, whose words, whose essence are impossible to ignore. And once you begin to speak, once you embrace the true power of your voice, you will notice something extraordinary happening within you. Your voice becomes more than just words. It becomes your signature, your identity, your mark on the world. It is no longer something you use just to communicate. It becomes the very fabric of your existence. When you speak, you're not just expressing an opinion. You are asserting your place in the world. You are declaring your value and your right to occupy space in this universe without fear or hesitation. The world will try to quiet you. It will try to drown out your voice with its noise and its demands. But the woman who understands the power of her voice knows that she cannot be silenced. She cannot be drowned out. Because every time she speaks, she strengthens the resonance of her truth. Her words echo with the weight of her experience, her power, and her conviction. And it's this unshakable belief in herself that creates ripples, ripples that extend beyond her own life, touching those who hear her, inspiring them to speak their truths as well. The more you speak, the clearer your voice becomes. It sharpens and strengthens, carrying the weight of your wisdom, your lessons, your battles, and your victories. And with each word you say, you bring more of your authentic self into the world. Your voice becomes your legacy, a legacy built not on silence, not on conformity, but on the courage to speak when everyone around you is telling you to be quiet. You will feel the resistance, of course. The world is still a place where women's voices are often diminished or dismissed. But the power that lives in your voice is stronger than any resistance that comes from the outside. Your voice is louder than the fear you feel. The more you use it, the more you'll see the world begin to change around you. The conversations will shift, the atmosphere will change, and most importantly, you will change. Because when you reclaim your voice, you reclaim your power. It's not just about speaking in grand moments, in times of conflict, or in the face of injustice. It's about the quiet moments, too. It's about the subtle, everyday acts of claiming your right to speak up. It's in saying no when you need to, in asking for what you deserve, in voicing your dreams, your desires, your boundaries. It's in the way you speak to yourself, the internal dialogue that either empowers or weakens you. Every word you say is an act of self-definition. Every time you express yourself, you create the life that is uniquely yours. The act of speaking is liberating, and it is uncontrollable. Once you begin, you will find that it's impossible to go back to silence. Your voice will demand to be heard. And it will not be a whisper, but a roar. It will come from the deepest part of you, from a place where your soul resides, untouched and free. It will come from a place of knowing that you are worthy of attention, of respect, of love, and of the life you desire. And in the process, you will notice something extraordinary. You will begin to attract people who resonate with your truth, who value your voice, and who support your right to express yourself. No longer will you be surrounded by people who silence you. Instead, you will be surrounded by those who encourage you, who lift you up, and who give you the space to grow into your fullest, most authentic self. It is in speaking your truth that you find your deepest sense of connection. Your voice connects you to the world in a way that nothing else can. When you speak, you bridge the gap between your inner world and the outer world. You begin to align your thoughts, your emotions, your desires with your external reality. And in this alignment, you begin to create the life you've always dreamed of, a life where you stand unapologetically in your power, where your voice rings clear and true, where every word you speak is in harmony with your highest self. And there, in the purity of your expression, lies the key to everything. The life you've always wanted, the respect you've always deserved, the peace you've always craved, it all comes from your ability to speak, to share, to own your truth. The strength of a woman lies not in her silence, it lies in her voice, in her courage to rise above the noise, above the expectations, and above the fear that has tried to hold her back. It lies in her willingness to speak the truth that resides within her, to say the things that others are afraid to say, to break the silence with words that have the power to transform not just her life, but the lives of those around her. So speak your truth. Say it with confidence, with power, with clarity. Let the world hear you. Not because you seek validation, but because your voice matters. Your voice is your strength. It is the most powerful tool you possess, the key that unlocks everything you are meant to create. It is time to stop shrinking. It is time to stop apologizing. It is time to start living boldly, with your voice as your guide. And remember, every time you speak, you break free from the chains that have held you down. You create space for others to do the same. You stand as an example of what it means to live authentically, to live without apology, and to live with the understanding that your voice is not just your right, it is your power. The world will never forget the woman who dared to speak. And you, my dear, are that woman. When you step fully into the power of your voice, you will begin to see the transformation unfold in every aspect of your life. It is a quiet revolution, one that starts within you, deep in your soul, and spreads outward, shifting everything around you. The relationships you nurture, the opportunities you create, the way you engage with the world will all change because you have finally allowed your truth to speak louder than the silence that once kept you small. And as you move forward, you will face resistance. It is inevitable. There will be moments when you question yourself, when the old fears of judgment and rejection try to creep in. You might hear the echo of old voices, telling you to keep quiet, to stay in your place, to not make waves. But these are the voices of the past, the voices of those who were too afraid to stand in their own truth. And you are not them. You are the woman who has found her voice, and no matter how loud the world gets, no matter how many times it tries to drown you out, your voice will rise above it all. It will rise like a tide, carrying you to places you never imagined. It will shape the world around you, because a woman who speaks her truth creates space for others to do the same. You will become the woman who doesn't just survive, but thrives. You will become the woman whose words command respect, whose words inspire change, whose words stir hearts and minds. The energy that emanates from you will no longer be one of quiet submission, but one of unshakable presence. Your voice will not just be heard, it will be felt. It will resonate in the hearts of those who hear it, awakening them to the power they too hold within themselves. This is the essence of true feminine strength. It is the power to speak without apology, without fear, and without hesitation, to speak for yourself and for those who have been silenced, for those who have not yet found their voice. When a woman speaks, she empowers not just herself, but everyone who listens. But here's the crucial part. Your voice is not just for the world to hear, it is for you to hear first. The woman who speaks is not only creating change externally, but is also continuously healing and evolving internally. Each word spoken in truth releases the parts of you that have been trapped in fear and self-doubt. Each time you open your mouth and speak what you know to be true, you are affirming your worth, you are acknowledging your power. And as you do this, you build a world that reflects your newfound strength. A world where silence no longer has a place, where truth, authenticity, and expression are the foundation of your relationships and your endeavors. You will find that opportunities open up that you once thought were beyond reach. The doors that were once closed to you now swing wide open because you have dared to stand in your truth, to make your voice heard. And those who need to hear you will listen. And those who are afraid of your power will attempt to diminish you, but you will not be moved. Your voice will be a shield, a sword, and a light all at once. Your voice is not just words, it is the pulse of your soul, the rhythm of your heart, the fire of your spirit. It is the spark that sets your world ablaze. And every time you choose to use it, you are shaping your future, your legacy, and the future of generations that will follow. This is the power of a woman who speaks. She is not only shaping the world around her, she is shaping herself. She is stepping into her truest form, embracing all the complexity, the beauty, and the wisdom that comes with living fully, authentically, and unapologetically. Her voice is the key that unlocks every door. So, let go of the need to remain quiet for others. Speak your truth. Use your voice because it's not just your right, it's your responsibility. Speak not only for yourself, but for the woman who will find her courage through your words. Speak for the world that is waiting to hear you, for the hearts that are aching to hear the truth that only you can give. The world has been waiting for you to rise up, waiting for you to speak your truth with the kind of clarity and conviction that only a woman who has finally claimed her voice can possess. When you speak, you not only give yourself the power to shape your destiny, you empower others to do the same. And in this power, in this courage, in this unwavering commitment to your truth, you will transform everything. Because the woman who knows the strength of her voice becomes unstoppable. So, speak. Let the world hear you. In the end, the true strength of a woman does not lie in her silence, but in her ability to speak her truth, to stand firm in her beliefs, and to never back down from the pressures of the world around her. When you find your voice, you open a door, not just for yourself, but for those around you, for those who are longing to be seen, to be heard, and to be respected. Never be afraid to raise your voice. Your voice is your power, the flame that burns bright in the darkness, the declaration that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. Every time you open your mouth and speak what your heart knows to be true, you not only change the world around you, but you change yourself. You become the strong, confident, unshakable woman you are meant to be. Speak and never stop. Because when you speak, you will realize that your voice is not just a tool for communication, it is a tool for creation, for building your future, for elevating your worth, and paving the way for other women to do the same. Your voice is the most powerful weapon you have. So, let the world hear you. Let the strength of your presence echo through everything you do. When you stand up and speak, you're not only freeing yourself, you are freeing an entire generation of women who will follow your lead